this shit.
Yeah, dude, I'm good. Let's do.
Alright. I have to make sure this started. An error occurred. Please try I don't know if we're showing up on YouTube. Yeah, we're showing up on YouTube. Okay, cool. So,
Alright, cool.
yeah, anyways, everybody, we just went ahead and started because we're going to chit-chat for a little bit. So, anyways, I was supposed to stream last night, and I canceled because we were told there's supposed to be a storm, like the worst storm in 60 years or something. Let's see, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Which display capture are you? You're that one. Okay, there we go.
Oh, you could have rhymed that.
By the way, thanks for the host. Thanks, Osiris, for the host. So I was supposed to stream last night, and I live in an area where I am completely surrounded by trees, like closely. And we're talking about, like, you know, old trees. They're like easily 150 feet tall. I've had somebody fart outside and knock the cable or power out, so it doesn't take very much. You know, like usually, like wind gusts will ensure that the power flickers.
Mind you, this guy was like Reinhardt size, and that's, you know, fart from.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, sure. And just like stupid things, like I've had people hit poles and take the power out for like hours and stuff, you know, right? So power grid and internet here not exactly stable. So they're like, weather service is like, biggest storm in like 60 years coming, so everybody hide under something and, you know, kiss your butt goodbye is pretty much what the weather service is making it sound like. So all these people went out and bought these like fucking generators and stuff, and just like to the point where like if you went to like Home Depot here, because we don't have a Lowe's, like the store had been picked clean, you know. And so even up like hours leading up to when the storm was supposed to hit, they're like, we're expecting 60, 70 mile an hour winds here. So we're like, well, shit, this sounds bad. Because I remember being here when we had like 40, 50, you know, and the trees are doing this shit, like swaying in the wind and all this. And, you know, and I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, one of these fuckers hits the house, it's just done, you know. It's a big tree. So I'm like, I'm not going to try to stream. I'm just, because worst case, but you know, best case scenario, the power and cables just gonna keep on going out. I have to restart the stream, all this dumb shit. So finally 7 o'clock hits when it's supposed to go. It's supposed to be between 7 and 9. Not a goddamn thing. I looked at trees, they didn't move like 1 inch. It was like maximum recorded wind gust was like 18 miles an hour here. Like the ocean came up and stuff pretty crazy, but not a damn thing. Yeah, anyways, fuck the weather service here. This is why I didn't stream last night, and I don't know how you're so fucking incompetent that you say that there's gonna be winds like 2 hours before they're supposed to hit and nothing happens.
It's alright. I did stream a little bit last night, so I took a little bit of your wind away or whatever.
Yeah. And if you guys haven't followed Joe by now, follow him on Limit Merchant on Twitch.
On Twitch, yep.
Yeah,
and
Twitch TV.
I think technically at Lemon Merchant on Twitter still works, but it's at Joe Shorten. So
yeah, if you just want to link it in the chats, you can do that. It's
I
easier
will.
for one. But yeah. So anyways, I ended up staying, I guess, not doing anything and watching a lot of stuff. And I'm a Star Trek fan, and so I watched a lot of dumb things on Star Trek. You ever seen Trek Yards, Joe?
No, I have not.
It's an interesting show. They go into like detail about like Star Trek ships and the design of them and like the lore that like fans and people at the studio have actually made up about them. And it's pretty damn cool. I like it a lot. But they were going off about Star Trek Discovery and how it's going to ruin the continuity of the 60s show because like nothing looks the same. It's not like bright blues and it doesn't have blinky panels and stuff. And it's like, it was the fucking 60s.
60s, right. Like, I mean, from what I've seen, it looks like they're keeping some of the same feel, but less hokey.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the hell they're complaining about. Then again, there's always those fans in any like comics or whatever that are always like, they're so diehard, like, I want it to be exactly this way when coming to a new medium, that they're never going to be happy. They're never happy. No one's ever happy.
Yeah. I mean, for what it was at the time, it was neat. It treaded on some new ground, especially with like letting people of different
ethnicity, yeah,
and
like the
whatnot. Yeah.
social issue, like the social issues and stuff that they dealt with were very, very ahead of their time.
But I'm straight up not looking for a Star Trek where they have an episode where it's like, what's wrong with this guy? Well, he's black on the wrong side. It's like, no. It's like, I'm not looking for that at all. You know, I'm looking for what they said, a story driven thing. Modernize it. Please modernize it. Don't make it look like the 60s.
Right. Yeah,
So,
I'm. It's just so cheesy. Like I've watched every single episode of the original series, but I mostly had to have it on the side with like I'd say 1 out of 8 episodes where I was like, okay, this is really cool, just based on the topics, or whatever. But it's hard to get through.
yeah.
I mean, I love that universe that they created and everything in Star Trek. And again, it is. People have made the argument like between Star Wars and Star Trek, whatever. Like Star Trek is like the smarter version, but in a way it is, because it actually delves with a lot more issues in depth, and that's what's cool about it for me, for a sci-fi thing. But you still need to modernize it.
Like, the thing that kills me is, like, and Star Wars is starting to become this way, but it's getting to the point where Star Trek has been around for such a long time that people are taking up parts that they like about it and they're like, this is canon and this is not canon, this can't be canon because this is not like this. It's almost becoming to a point where it's almost like a religion, and now we have like the Baptist Treks and like the Christian and the Catholic Treks. It's
I'm pretty sure in Australia Jediism is a religion.
Yeah, well, anyways, let's not talk about the cult of Shatner.
Ooh, yeah.
Anyways, I just wanted to vent about that.
Take a while.
It's like they're just going off and like it's going to ruin the continuity of the show. The show never had good continuity in the first place. Chill.
Definitely not the original series. Like they got a little bit better as time went on, but
it's still screwed up. I can still point things out.
Especially I mean, they give themselves a little leeway because they have the time traveling aspects and stuff. But yeah it's a little wonky sometimes.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's damn entertainment. Just look for that out of it.
It's good. Yeah, just as I always looked at certain things like this, look, you are getting more official stuff of what you love. Just take it and enjoy it.
Yeah. Except the prequels of the Star Trek or Star Wars movies.
We're not talking about that.
All right. So, anyways, guys, welcome for stumbling in here. This is Final Savecast. Yeah.
Also, quickly on YouTube, CCM wants to know what we think of the newer Star Trek movies. Really quick.
I like the first one, the first reboot of Trek. Into Darkness is not the best. It's not the worst either, in my opinion. Like when I compare it to like the Star Trek V, where they were looking for God, it's not that big pile of shit. Like
it's nowhere near as bad as that. No, there's no chance in hell.
I know me and Joe are polarizing on this one. I really liked Beyond a lot.
Oh no, we're not polarized. I love Beyond.
Oh, okay. I was talking to somebody and they said they didn't like Beyond at all.
It definitely wasn't me. I loved it, man. Because I love Star Trek Enterprise. I love that show, and there were so many references to it. It made me so happy.
Enterprise is definitely the best Trek show, in my opinion.
I think it is, and that's where we're polarized with like the rest of the community.
Yeah, a lot of people hate Enterprise, and I fucking love Enterprise. It's awesome.
Yeah, it was an amazing show.
Yeah, so there's a lot of cool things in there. There's even shots of, like shuttle pods and Beyond from the Enterprise show.
Yeah,
I was so excited. I was like, they're paying attention to stuff. It's awesome.
Yes, and Benedict Cumberbatch was really good. Like, there is a certain charm that Montalban brought to Khan that I think Cumberbatch didn't quite have. But Benedict Cumberbatch is always a great actor. He definitely brought it for sure.
I think he did a better job of Khan, personally.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, because I can see that argument for sure, but
yeah. Just like I think what's his kid's name? Chris Pine. I think he's a better Kirk. I'm sorry.
Well, that's not hard.
Yeah. But I mean, let's be honest. There's so many people who are like, no, it's not Shatner. Bleh. It's like, no.
I get it. Shatner is the original, but when you think of it objectively, Pine's a way better actor.
like, there's a lot of people from the original Trek that like James Doohan, Nichelle Nichols. I understand having them. When the first motion picture came out, I would have replaced fucking Shatner's Kirk. I'm sorry, he was always a budget actor on a budget show.
Yeah, he was. The only reason why he continued his career at all was because he was Captain Kirk, and like he wasn't in anything like major besides Star Trek. I mean,
Yeah.
there was what Boston Legal or whatever it was,
Yeah.
like, and he was playing Shatner on that.
Yeah, and I mean, basically,
Sick.
James Spader carried him through that. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Also,
So,
CCM, yes. Benedict Cumberbatch's Smaug was awesome, and if anybody hasn't seen it, watch the behind the scenes of him doing the mo capture because he actually gets down like all fours and like slithers and like he gets so into it, and it's so amazing. You gotta watch it.
yeah. And then, yeah, that's all I can say. But man, Beyond was so awesome. That was probably the best one. I
It
love
might
the
have been. It was good.
I love the little references. I like the things that they did. So the original Trek show was canceled after 3 seasons.
Right.
And what they did in Beyond, if you paid attention, is they talked about they picked up literally right off where that 3rd season ended.
Yeah,
Like,
pretty much.
like they pretty much made the split between the 2 movies. Like the stuff that happened in the original show, more or less of the same happened in that universe too. And so they make references to it. Like when Kirk beams up, he's like, "I ripped my shirt again." So, like, it's just like, so yeah, it's like they seem like they're going in a good direction with it, and I'm really happy. A lot of people are gonna be. I understand the scaling of the ships. You know, the ship being a lot bigger than it was
Yeah.
in the show. That's a movie thing, so you can see the detail easier and whatnot. That's basically what that is. But yeah, no, I actually like the new track, and screw anybody else that thinks I'm dumb for liking it. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. It's fantastic. My only complaint about it is, like, the philosophy and everything behind it is nowhere near as strong as the old one. But the action and like and also I feel like a lot of that is hard to do in movies anyways to get really in depth with stuff. So man, throw me a good action movie with it, and it has some philosophy and stuff behind it. So it was fine. It was great.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So what you been playing this week, man?
What have I been playing? Let's see. I streamed a little bit of Evoland yesterday, Evoland 2, and man, is that game good. Like, so far, it's basically, it takes the premise of Evoland 1. Like, Evoland 1 is definitely, like, a proof of concept. Evoland 2 is actually making a full-fledged game with these mechanics of it growing. And, like, you start off in, like, a kind of like a 32-bit style pixel game.
So they
And
leave
then
it
you-
off right where they left it off right where the last one was, didn't they?
No, it takes place, I would say, probably like 100 years after.
Well, I'm
so
saying,
I
like-
think it's like 60.
Like,
you
wasn't the last one like 8-bit and it went to 32 and that's where they ended it or something like
Well,
that?
it went into full 3D.
Oh, okay.
This one is like, it starts you off, yeah, like a 32-bit pixel, and then like something happens and you get like thrown back in time. But when you get thrown back in time, it goes to like 8-bit, and like you like work your way. It's kind of cool. So, and also the mechanics and everything are very like, it's a mix between Zelda and like Metroid right now. Yeah, I'm sure it'll change up as the old one did, but yeah, it is fantastic dialogue, and like everybody it's funny, it's cute, it's wonderful. I definitely recommend it. Of course, also Overwatch a little bit.
Yeah.
Thank you, Halloween update.
What do you mean by it's Metroid? It's just like side scrolling or something?
Like it's a side scrolling, and you have to. It's not so much as like the map, and you have to like backtrack and stuff, but like the way when you go into, like, they have the over the top view like Zelda sometimes, and then when you go into like dungeons, it kind of goes to the side scrolling like Metroid thing, and you have like the creatures and the feel and everything of them. Kind of has that feel. There's a little bit of backtracking, I guess, in the last dungeon I did, but yeah.
Okay. I was kind of wondering if they were trying to go for like a Link's Adventure kind of thing or something like that.
Yeah, a little bit of that too, I guess you'd say, but less clunky.
Well, let's see what I play. I played a lot of H1Z1 King of the Kill.
Nice.
Had a lot of fun with that. Played that with Kyle and his wife for a few nights. Played Overwatch again. Not nearly as much as I want to because I want the new skins.
Right. I think I got one.
And then I messed around with the Steam Link last night, just
Oh, yeah?
for reasons. So when I play on my TV, which is the older 10 or 720p TV, you can see like some artifacting and stuff from the video. So I got curious and I pulled one of my 1080 monitors down the PlayStation 3D one, stuck it down
Right.
by the floor where I usually play, and hooked it up. And I was just like kind of curious, like how bad does the artifacting look? Actually, I didn't see any artifacting on 1080.
Oh.
Something happens when you scale that image down to 720 where it becomes pronounced.
Right. Yeah, it
So
probably has to. Yeah, it has to do with the scaling probably more
yeah,
than
as
anything.
far as I can tell, like I have my face right up against the screen a couple times. I cannot tell a difference between the PC and the Link.
Got like Steam streaming at least at 1080 that I've noticed is normally pretty good as long as the connection's good.
Yeah, so like this is like I could see like the difference in MSA and everything, just like I could on a computer monitor. It's kind of
Nice.
nuts. So they've done a lot of revisions on that. And I've been using it more and more, and
Hmm.
they've especially fixed their wireless connection, so I can actually do like the highest video setting on wireless. And typically, what it'll do is it does this kind of like all the settings you would do like in OBS, right? Like you'd set up your bit rate and your CPU like usage and all that. It
Right.
figures all that out on the fly as it's going on. So you'll see like your connection like delay like go from like really high down to low. And so like I was playing Rocket League, it was staying below 30 milliseconds the whole time, which a lot of people are like 30 milliseconds is bad. You really can't tell. There's other things that you do on the Steam Link, which Valve does a terrible job of explaining us, but you just turn VSync off on the
Right.
Steam Link. You don't use it because you don't get screen tearing with it. So that takes like a lot of time to lay off of it too. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, I've been messing with that more. Oh, you flipped the other way. Oh, nice, back the other way.
I'm sorry, I'm messing with you.
Damn it. But yeah, I've been messing with that more, and it's been interesting to see that tech evolve over a
Hmm.
short amount of time. You know, it went from basically just being like a wow, you got dark. It just
Yeah, so
basically
I'm
went from
trying to
being
fix it a little bit.
oh
Never mind. I'll
but
stop.
okay. It's just throwing me off. It went from being this really cool like idea to like an actual viable thing now that pretty much just anybody can do on their PC. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, it is.
All right, so let's get into news. So,
Actually, that reminds me. I'm going to take the liberty, if it's okay with you, to kind of start with the next news because it kind of segues into that.
okay.
Do you think that the PS4 controller will be able to be used with the Steam Link now that it's going to be officially supported by Steam?
Got news for you. The PS4 controller was always able to be used as a Steam Link.
Well, thank you. Really?
Yeah, it's got Bluetooth built into it.
Well, I mean, yeah, but did you have to do anything special?
No, it just recognizes it's a PS4 controller, and it's got like a wrapper built into the Steam Link that makes it think it's an
Oh.
Xbox controller.
Interesting.
So even like if you don't have like the program on your computer that would like fake it out to like Xbox mode or whatnot, it's like it wouldn't work on your PC. You go play it through the Steam Link, it works.
Huh. That's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of like built into the OS of the Steam Link.
Nice.
You can also use a Wii U Pro controller, strangely enough.
Yeah, well, that's Bluetooth supported. And actually, I've heard a lot of people prefer that controller on PC.
Yeah.
But-
I probably would now because I'm used to like having the buttons down below like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. All right. So we'll get into the whole PS4 thing in a sec.
Yeah.
So this is a YouTube channel that I watch quite a bit. This is Pat, the NES punk. I like retro shit, and he does a
Retro
podcast
shit's
like we do, and he covers a lot of good stuff. So, Mike Kennedy, who is a guy that had a magazine called Retro something, I can't remember.
Yeah, it was retro something.
Yeah. Decided about 3 years ago he was going to make his own game console called the VGS. It was like I don't know, virtual retro system or something like that. Eventually, Coleco, the rights owners that still hold the Coleco name, got interested, and they ended up renaming it Coleco Chameleon. This guy is basically a con artist. He showed up at one game show with they basically took the board out of, so the whole thing started, he got people excited because he bought the actual molds for the Sega, or for the Atari Jaguar, right?
Right.
And he said, we're going to make a system out of this. Anybody that knows anything about game design or game machine development will tell you that you make the board first and then you make the case second, because you don't know what kind of shape
You're gonna get it in there.
you're going to get in there, what kind of cooling you're going to need, whatever. So he ended up showing up with prototypes. That one was a mini, or the SNES 2, the small one, that had the board ripped out and just shoved into a Jaguar shell.
Right.
And then he said, okay, yeah, we'll show like the real prototype board. he took one of those like old capture cards for like TV tuning and stuff like that for PC, and shoved it into a clear plastic shell for the thing and told everybody that was the prototype. And people of the internet within like immediately, like within like 2 days, had found that same capture card and did a side-by-side comparison of it. So this is stuff he was trying to do to get around showing a prototype so he could get on Kickstarter, because Kickstarter says that you need to have a working prototype before you can go on there. So he's a fucking artist. He had people working on games for this thing that never was, in my opinion, was ever going to really come out. Like, he was just basically sucking up the money. I think his original plan was basically to take the money, say, oh, well, this happened, and now we can't break it out, and run with the money, essentially. So, now they're starting a store.
Yeah, always good.
And it sounds like the only thing the store is selling is stuff that you can get anyway. So now they've got this Retrobit Genesis. So this kind of came out after the we covered this one week. This kind of came out after the Nintendo was bringing out the NES Classic.
The teeny tiny NES.
Yeah, and it's basically same premise, HDMI out. It does have AV output, which is pretty cool. Sega Genesis controllers, but badly made ones, because I've used these before.
Yeah.
And then they're selling stuff like this, which isn't too bad, like the 8BitDo NES Pro. But apparently, if you ever subscribe to his magazine, you just got like an email saying, hey, come buy stuff from us because it helps keep the magazine afloat. So obviously they're in bad financial shape, and probably, quite honestly, I wouldn't support them anymore.
No.
He did so many nasty things. He actually had guys that were pretty smart in the industry working on that Coleco Chameleon, and they told him like the issues they were going to have with using a FPGA design system, and he just straight up fired him without like having any idea who else to hire. So yeah, I would say anything that's like attached to Retro Magazine or whatnot, just let it go. This Mike Kennedy guy seems like a pretty shitty character.
Yeah, he's not. I wouldn't say trustworthy. Also, like this whole idea of magazines now, like, pretty much unless you're an established magazine, I don't think you're going to do well. So I don't know what they're thinking in that regards.
So I don't know what's up with that. Yeah, I mean, it was a cool idea when it started.
I mean, it's all like they're cool ideas, but this guy has definitely not followed through on anything. So I wouldn't trust him.
It's like, I know Pat himself was actually writing for this magazine, didn't have anything good to say about him. So, and I've heard that from multiple other people too. So, yeah, it sounds like he's just preying on the community and needs to go away. But I don't know. That whole Coleco Chameleon thing was kind of like,
oh, that's shady as hell.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounded cool, but it wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny.
Mm-hmm.
It was funny at the like supposed system that they had at the toy show. Couldn't even have like HDMI hookups. It was straight up just whatever. I'm surprised nobody saw right. Well, people did see right through it. It was a problem.
Right. Oh yeah, they were gonna see right through it really quickly. Yes, and Coconut Monkey, that slick design though, it was pretty. The last thing you were showing with the NES like controller.
Oh, well, you guys can just pick this up from 8BitDo or online. This is the 8BitDo NES Pro 30.
Yes.
The one I actually went, since we're here on the home page, I'll just show you guys real quick. 8BitDo, and this is cool too. I don't know if you guys are aware. So they make these NES. They even make like a Famicom version with the multicolored buttons.
Oh, really?
Basically a replica of the Super Nintendo and original Nintendo controller. I actually went the original Nintendo because it actually comes with like a stand for your computer or whatnot. And then they make these little Bluetooth adapters that you can plug in through USB and use them as Bluetooth on a PC, but it's also got like the SNES and Nintendo plug on it, so you can use wirelessly on your Nintendo.
Oh, that's cool.
And everybody says they work fine. So
nice.
And then if you can still find these, they got like straight up like arcade style sticks that work with this shit, but Yeah, it's pretty cool. But if you want like a full functional controller, and I've heard good things about these. But anyways, off topic.
Oh, those arcade sticks are nice.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so a couple days ago, Titanfall 2. I've been watching their YouTube channel. Released
Mm-hmm.
a single player, kind of like synopsis of what they expect of Titanfall. It sounds badass.
It looks awesome.
Yeah. So if I remember right, the planet it sounds like you're going to be almost like a singularly on one planet called Typhon, where it's pretty much where the story's taking place. And you are just basically a grunt, a rifleman starting out this game. And you become friends with a Titanfall pilot, or a Titan pilot, I should say.
Right.
And it sounds like he's like just having fun and training you on how to use Titans and stuff. Apparently, this guy's like the biggest badass, like Red 5, you know, in Titanfall Galaxy. And he unfortunately dies, and you take over his Titan, which happens to be, for some reason, the most advanced Titan in the entire region. So
I mean, when you're the badass, you gotta have the most badass Titan.
exactly, yeah. I mean, sure. It's just weird to me that like a Resistance pilot would have that. You know what I mean?
He tinkers, man. You get something going really good.
Yeah, it's true. So, anyways, it's supposed to be 5 years after the original Titanfall. What was the guy's name? Fisk or something like that? It was at the end of Titanfall 1.
You would know better than I would.
Yeah, I guess he's in this game. He's like the main character carrying over.
Oh, really? Cool.
So, or the one that you know from the first game.
Right.
But it sounds to me like you could almost play this and not have to know a whole lot about it. The Resistance has 25% of the, whatever you want to call it, the Outer Rim, or whatever, that they're... So, the first Titanfall, it literally ended, to kind of catch you guys up on, ships from Earth were using like this one singular planet. I can't remember the name of it, but it was like a fueling depot, and it also had like there's like a lot of deposits around where they could get fuel, and you needed to have this planet to get the corridor back to Earth and whatnot. So at the end of Titanfall 1, like their kind of like weird campaign, that place got fucked up. And so now like the whatever they want to call it, the Outer Rim or whatnot, is now kind of cut off from Earth. And so now like the main bad guys and the Resistance is fighting. So essentially that's where they're looking to pick up. Now the thing I think is weird is I've noticed, I'm kind of curious, like playing this, are they going to like go back and talk about like the Titans the way they did in the first one? Like, because if you remember the first Titans, they were like repurposed like farm equipment.
That's right. Yeah.
Like they're supposed to be like basically combines and tractors and robot farm and stuff like that.
Right. If I remember correctly, you can correct me. Like, wasn't the world like not really? It was pretty peaceful and everything before this war happened and everything, and that's why like they didn't really have like too many like big weaponry, and that's why they got the Titans.
Yeah. So essentially, what happened is colonists from Earth got out there, and then whatever the Earth military thing that they call or whatnot started taking a tighter and tighter grip, and this is all separate of what's going on Earth. So Earth, as far as we know, is peaceful and nobody gives a shit about what's going on out there. But they start taking matters in their own hands, fucked up, blew this big ass refinery up, and now they're cut off from Earth because they don't have a way to get back and forth. So it sounded like in the midst of all this, basically all these colonists and farmers were taking basically their work machines and turning them into robot soldiers. Essentially,
awesome.
Is what I got out of it. But then the weird thing is like the main like Alliance guys had them too. But anyways, so I'm kind of curious. Like it looks cool. There's a lot of neat interactions with the robot where he's like throwing you from like certain things.
Like I know that seems to be like their shot they keep showing, but it's so cool. Like I just want to be thrown up against the wall and then wall run off of that, just all in one fluid motion. Just if they can accomplish that, I'll be so happy.
Yeah, it's like there's a lot of good lines I saw so far. Like the robot's like, "I would accompany you into the building, but unfortunately my chassis won't fit through there." Something like that. Great. And he's something like, and then he's
a
like,
witty robot.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. He's like sarcasm detected, stuff like that. Right. They said he's supposed to be almost childlike in a way, like he's a little bit naive. He doesn't quite get certain things. So it sounds like they're turning.
That's cool. Give me a character.
Yeah, it sounds like they basically made the Kit car robot.
It's a good comparison.
Yeah. So
Yeah, Kit.
yeah. So I'm hoping I find a way to get this game because I want to play it,
Mm-hmm.
even just for single
Oh, yeah.
player. And I'm like stupid excited because like all my favorite Call of Duty games were made by
Mm-hmm.
this essentially by this team.
That same with me. I always loved Infinity Ward, classic Infinity Ward. What was it? Sam Pella and West.
Uh huh.
Uh, love those guys, and like I could tell. I'm sure everyone could tell because Ghost sucked.
Yeah.
Ghost is an awful Call of Duty.
And by the
Uh,
way, I saw Infinite Warfare. I need to talk about that shit.
uh,
I played a little bit of the beta on the PS4.
oh, you did. Oh
Yeah,
boy.
not good. Anyways, by all means, sorry.
Yeah, it is also, at least from that trailer they're showing, that trailer is 60 frame smoothness. So if they can actually accomplish that in game, Coconut, you will be super happy.
Yeah. It's like, I'm pretty sure they will. That was something that they
Yeah.
were always like very stuck to, even to the point where on the old consoles they're like, yeah, we're not going to worry about 1080 or 720. We're going to run it at a lower resolution so we can get better frame rate. So
Hmm.
um, I imagine PC, hopefully like their medium high settings are pretty good for
What?
medium range,
Yeah.
mid-range cards.
Do you know what engine they're using? Are they still on the same one, or
I
is it
have
new?
no clue. I doubt it's Source.
I mean, it could be Source 2, maybe, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think they
still
would have
looks
Source 2
very
already.
It still looks very similar, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. They could have struck a deal with them, with Valve. They're not making games, so other people use their engine.
Yeah. I mean, it could still be a modified version of Source 2. I mean, that's what they did with the Quake engine for years and years and years.
Right, right.
Like, I mean, technically, Call of Duty still runs on the Quake,
It's
Quake
still
4
technically-
engine, yeah?
Yeah. Was it Quake? No, it was Quake 3.
Quake 3? Damn.
Yeah, it'd be idTech. What was that? idTech 3, idTech 4,
Yeah.
something like that.
So, they just keep on taking, like, engines, stripping them down, putting new.
Mhm.
So, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I'm getting stupid excited for this
Mhm.
bad boy.
Yeah.
I want it to
Like-
be good.
Yeah, it is really good. Also, ooh, just a little quick thing. Another game I actually have been playing a little bit of when I have the time. The new Mirror's Edge Catalyst.
Hmm.
Oh man, I even still playing that. Like it just flows and everything so well. Wall running is so great in that. Like I'm loving it. I know a lot of people hated on it, but so far thoroughly enjoying it. It's fantastic.
I don't know what people are looking for. I think people expect too much a lot of times.
Yeah, I mean, if you're expecting like this huge game where you can like free roam anywhere you want and whatever, and like the missions and everything are super complex and in depth, you're not going to get that. Besides in the main quest, like it's pretty lean when it comes to like side quests, in my opinion. But that would probably be my only complaint about it so far.
All right. So let me talk about Infinite Warfare, by the way.
Alright.
Played a little bit, watched a lot more of it. Okay. There are parts in that game where literally stuff from Black Ops 3 has been reskinned and reused. Like over and over. The HUD, the abilities that came over from Black Ops 3, the wall running, it's all there. The HUD literally looks so almost identical to Black Ops 3 in that game. There's one sniper rifle in particular where it first popped out to me where it was like, this is literally the same scope. So there's a sniper rifle in that game where you look down, it's like a screen. Kind of looks like the weird screen that went over Luke Skywalker's eye during the Death Star battle. It's just like a block screen. And that's like the scope on this sniper rifle. And it like charges up. It goes like this, and shoots like 3 shots off.
Okay.
They literally took that scope, took the screen out, made it like a scope thing. But it's literally the same box and everything, skinned a new color and stuck on a different gun. And that's what most of the assets are. I've noticed they're just like, most of them were just different parts they made for Modern Warfare 3 taken off, pasted back together for new guns and stuff. Like, it is the laziest fucking version of Call of Duty I've seen yet.
See, okay, I'm gonna just try and piss you off. Is this really that big of a deal? Like, because it looks like there's a lot of stuff that is totally brand new. So they only have what, a 3-year development cycle, 2-year, if that.
I understand that, but at the same time, what I've seen, it doesn't look any different from Black Ops. It doesn't seem to play any different from Black Ops 3.
From what you've seen, I mean, granted, but
Maybe there's something new in there. Like in the single player, they showed like shooting
Well,
like ropes and
yeah,
stuff across, but I didn't see any
right.
of that.
You didn't see any of it in the beta. Like there was like the space battles and stuff, and I'm wondering too with like the new like equipment and stuff. Maybe they spent a little more time on that, and then they just like, okay, let's just reskin the guns because they're guns.
Yeah. Well, there's like
So
a couple new guns. There's one I saw it like shoots this like almost like fan thing out, and it seems it's like almost like the smart pistol in Titanfall, just like almost auto aims. As long as you're like inside this big huge arc, you kill whatever target you've got, and it's just like. I don't know. Like for me, I don't understand why I would spend $60 on that when it plays so much like the last one.
Mm-hmm.
Like just play the last one, spend money on that or something, you know?
Right. Yeah, we have a Viridian captain. Is kind of saying the same thing. Like it is. I think we've all been through this with Call of Duty. Like it does for the most part feel like the same game every year.
Mm-hmm.
Like every like 2 years, maybe it feels a little bit updated, but like it's. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't know why people still buy it every single year.
I just feel like even with the old ones, like they did a good job with like the story kept me engaged and was enough to go to them again. And even though like a lot of the assets were recycled, they introduced things like kill streaks. One thing that made me upset, I can't remember what the mode was, but you remember Modern Warfare 2 had a mode where it was like certain like side missions and stuff that you could do. It'd be anything from like trying to like survive waves to you had like that one badass mission. It was like a redone of like Modern Warfare 1 where one person was an AC-130 and the other person was on the ground. I can't remember what they call it. It was like Spec Ops or something like that?
Spec Ops, yeah.
And then like they're like every Call of Duty has like fucking zombies now. And I just
Right, yeah.
I do not give a shit about zombies.
I know, and again, yeah, another thing that has been overdone so much in the past already like 10 years it feels like now.
It's like I understand if you like zombies and you kind of hate, but it's something
I'm wearing a Call of Duty shirt right now, but whatever.
Actually, I have a Black Ops 2 shirt.
Really? That's funny.
Yeah. But I am so over the zombie thing, and it's like cool if you want that, but they need to do like almost like a Sniper Elite thing. Like I played the Sniper Elite zombie thing, and I didn't give a shit about it. You know, I came away from that like I don't care. But the good thing was it was its own fucking thing. You know,
Right?
And that's what I wish they would do with this. It's just like. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not spending the money on it. I'm not even entertaining to get it. It's not enough different to justify moving away from Black Ops 3 for me. So.
Yeah, I don't blame you. You know, was it you that told me Advanced Warfare that I need to play the single player for?
Yeah, the single player in Advanced Warfare is really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will get on that sooner or later.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, CC, you jumped into this channel instead of the YouTube one. Yeah, I know you were trying to compare Battlefield 1 or Battlefield even. To me, they technically are two different games. I see why people compare, but
no, they're different.
And they're definitely splitting even more so now.
Yeah, I mean they're so different from each other. They play so different. Battlefield is definitely a much longer game, where Call of Duty is
bigger,
much more faster paced. You know, you have to worry about things like bullet drop and stuff like that. Like Call of Duty I've always called Call of Duty the Mario Kart of first-person shooters, because you can be like on the bottom of the scoreboard and come back on top by the end of the match. So, and that's depending on like score streaks and stuff, because like you literally have like score streaks that might as well be the blue turtle shell, you know, in Call of Duty. So, all right. So next up we got: is it illegal to release misleading game trailers or screenshots? And oddly, it's in a question. Let me just say yes.
I mean, is it technically illegal?
Yes, false advertisement is illegal.
Yeah, I guess. Like, how can I put it? I mean, yes, it is, but more so like with No Man's Sky, I don't know if there was, if anything, very little I actually think they put out there that was misleading. Maybe looking at it from a beginning of the game standpoint, I think a lot of those they have plans, and I think there's a few things they're starting to implement, but I don't know. I'm curious what your take is.
I've seen videos of them ask. So there's like one video that sticks out to me, especially like there's one part where they jump out, and you know, like when you're in No Man's Sky, and like all the ships and cruisers will pop in and stuff like that. There's one scene where like they were like a bunch of ships were fighting with each other, and depending on what side that you went into the fight and started shooting, whether you shoot what ships you were shooting and stuff, that made like a choice where it was supposed to be like, now you're a part of this faction, and this faction will follow you through this many solar systems or something like that, you know. And so it made it interesting in a way. It was supposed to be like when you're on a planet, if you chose the wrong faction and that planet's like ruled by the other guys, you're going to be in a lot of trouble or things like that. It's going to be a lot more difficult for you. And the next thing they asked them in that video was, is that going to be out on the day of release? Yes, absolutely. Like, that's okay. That's false advertisement right there.
Yeah,
there's no, and I've seen multiple videos where they've asked them about like multiplayer. Is there multiplayer in this? Yes, there's multiplayer in this. It's just very unlikely you're going to see people. They said that's going to be out with the game. Yes, it's going to be out with the game. Sorry, once again, false advertisement.
Yeah. Okay, you got on the multiplayer. Yeah, that was definitely very iffy. Like, because there is no multiplayer at all, and I don't think they plan on implementing it yet. I don't know. It's from a lot what I saw was the game was looking boring anyways, but you're right, there are a few definite situations.
There's a few things I wouldn't have had a problem with it if they would have been upfront and said, no, it's not in there right now. It's something we could look into in the future or planning on doing, because you're not making any promises then. It's like dating a girl. It's like, oh, you want to be exclusive? Sure. And then she goes and fucks somebody else. It's like
false advertising. Right.
So that's kind of been my problem with No Man's Sky.
Right. There is always going to be a little bit of misleading, I think. But I think with No Man's Sky, it was kind of at another level where it was very clear that they were being misleading. Where there's a lot of games that kind of show stuff in trailers, and you're like, okay, that looks really cool. And then you play the game, you're like, okay, that wasn't really in there, or wasn't quite what I thought it would be, like the way they showed it. But there's always going to be that wiggle room. But No Man's Sky was very clear on what was going to be in there, and they did deliver on that. But there's a few, like, I'm mostly just playing devil's advocate because I like to do that. But there's a huge problem with that game. And then again, I kind of saw a lot of it coming. That way, being such a small studio, and I knew there was no way they're going to get every little thing in there, at least right away.
I could tell on the download when I started downloading it, it was like 2 gigs. I was like,
yeah, it's pretty
tiny. Yeah, something's not right here. But okay, here's what I'm going to say about it. If you enjoy it, if you enjoy the game, I understand a lot of people just like cracking open a beer, smoking a bowl, whatever, and playing this game. You know, that's fine.
It's not an awful game.
It's not bad. No, it works fine. Like they fixed the PC version. Mostly.
Yeah, it runs really well now.
Yeah, so I don't have a problem with that. I will admit that there's things when they were showing it off where it looks completely different from what they originally showed. That's not uncommon.
Yeah, that
in
happens
video
a
games.
lot.
That happens a lot. I'm forgiving of that, but I'm one of those people. I'm very much like, vote with your wallet kind of thing, since that's the kind of country we live in.
Oh yeah, of course.
And I don't want to support a developer that's going to straight up lie to people about what their game is. And so anytime I run into that, I just don't buy the game, you know?
Yeah. And you're right, Spider Fan. Like, yeah, I guess in a way, like loosely multiplayer with like the naming of planets and stuff. There are things that connect between different people, but that's very, very. You're rocking that line right there, really bad.
But they did tell them that yes, you can run into other people. It's very unlikely. And there was people who tested it. There was actually players that played hundreds of hours to find the same planet and the same location and could not see each other.
Right.
So yeah, but
and don't underestimate the power of random people and their time. They will. Yeah. They'll figure it out.
Yeah. And the thing about this is too, it's like I think it's being handled the right way. I don't think suing them is a thing that needs to be happening. I'm sorry. But the stores, a lot of stores opening up, even like I think Walmart started taking copies of this back due to some misleading, is probably the right action to do, so anyways.
Right, yeah, they definitely need the backlash against them. I think suing will be kind of too hard and take too long and whatnot, but they'll be hurt when, no one can buy their games, so...
Okay, so a string of interesting events has been going on with PlayStation. So as you guys know, PC is hot nowadays. Now, I keep on hearing, it's got to be, right?
I mean, there's a lot of stuff running in there. It gets hot.
Well, yeah, especially this one. Jesus Christ. It's like I saw my motherboard the other day hitting 55C. It was like, damn. Um, but yeah, okay. So I like to use the word common sense, and even though it's not fucking common anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But let's think about this logically. And I promise I'll get to the PlayStation 4 controller here in a sec.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot to talk about.
PS4 Pro literally came out, and they said in Europe, especially what's the guy's name in Europe? Andy House.
Yeah.
Yeah, he specifically said, in his mind, they made it to combat people from moving away from PlayStation to PC, like high-end PCs.
Oh yeah.
Which I don't really understand that, but sure, whatever. Then PlayStation's also shown an interest in what is that thing called? PlayStation Now, their streaming service.
Oh yes, the Now, yes, which is also on PC.
It's on PC now.
I have tried it, and
really?
it works fairly well. You can definitely tell it's just streaming in like 720, but when the connection's good and everything, it is fairly on point. Like maybe a slight delay in controller, but like only when you're like trying to do something really crazy can you tell.
Okay, so they have that service on PC now. They never 100% locked out the DualShock 4 or even DualShock 3 from PC. There's been software for years to make those work. Right. So now Steam's just gotten to the point like, well, it's unlocked. Let's just grab the DualShock 4 and just make it native to Steam. You can just sit there, you can edit the buttons like you can with the Steam controller and whatnot, and that's a thing, apparently, now.
It's awesome.
Yeah, so apparently Valve is just saying, if you're buying Valve games, and it, just like the Steam controller, it doesn't necessarily have to be a game off of Steam, as long as it's added to the Steam client. You can edit the controller fine. I'm kind of curious if this is going to be like the Steam controller, where it'll recognize like EXEs outside of Steam and still keep a database of like pre-configs on that.
Maybe. That's cool. That'd be a good idea.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's going to be to that level, but this has definitely made it to the point where, like, yes, I'm actually getting a DualShock 4 for the PC for games that don't play well on the Steam controller.
Which are a lot, in my opinion, but...
Yeah, well, I don't necessarily agree. Basically, for me, it's like a couple of games here and there. Like, I played Batman with it last night, and I'm still fine with it.
Tara and me, we're always talking shit, alright? Get used to it.
But... So this is an interesting move. Is PlayStation getting more interested in possibly putting their platform on PC?
That's a good question. I mean, I think it'd be smart of them. Definitely the PlayStation Now is definitely one of the first steps. It would be awesome if they can get it so, like, maybe not everything, but certain things will be able to run with it. It's not all. It's also not even necessarily combating, Steam and PC. It's also because Xbox is going this route too, where games work on both platforms, and technically PC is not owned by Microsoft as much as they like to claim it is. It's not. Yeah. So it's open. PlayStation could do it, and I think, as we've talked about many times, having that PlayStation brand might be the more important thing going into putting your games out onto, hey, this is on the PC, this is what you need, this is how it works, go through our client, and try and make it simpler. It's definitely a possibility.
So this also came out too. Let's see. So we see here on GameIndustry.biz that Sony's president has actually said that they would be interested in looking into making Sony PlayStation VR work on PC as well, which is possible. It's just USB external box.
Right.
I wouldn't even be surprised if that box is really doing anything on a PC, but whatever.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't, but...
So here's another thing where they're admitting to possibly even allowing that. So with both of these companies being really interested in PC, there's something going on there with PC sales that we don't know about.
I mean, everything I've heard though is like gaming PC hardware and sales keeps going up.
Yeah.
It's jumped significantly. I think in the past like 5 years or so. I'm not sure on the exact numbers and everything, but it's, what I've heard. But also things such as Steam and Origin are definitely helping with that, making it easier with updates and also downloading, and also download speeds and humble bundles and everything, making it cheaper. So it PC's definitely growing, and also I know in Europe has loved PC gaming for a long time, so I imagine it's gonna keep going.
So, would you be shocked? Okay, so now we have this issue where, yes, Microsoft and Steam worked out a deal where apparently eventually the Xbox stuff from the Windows Store will work with Steam. Like integration, like the controller and stuff will apparently at one point work. We'll see how long that takes, not like Microsoft. Would you be surprised if, like, one day Microsoft says, well, now you can only get the stuff through Windows and you have to have an Xbox controller? What if PlayStation says, well, our controller works with Steam and now you can buy PlayStation games on Steam?
I mean, that would be huge. I don't see that happening, but definitely it would be huge if they did that, especially if Microsoft said, hey, only on the Xbox Store, which as of right now, 'cause it seems like it's more like a delayed release on Steam, at least so far with what is it, Quantum
well, I
Break.
don't really count that because it's a Remedy game and they've had a history of trying to release their stuff on many stuff as possible,
Right.
even if it's through Microsoft.
Yeah, right. It might have been. They might have had a fight with Microsoft maybe a little bit. I don't know, but
Yeah.
it is technically a Microsoft Studio game.
Yeah, I'll believe it when I see like Halo on Steam.
Yeah, that one might be pushing. But then Halo, they take that and they put it in their little box and they keep very good, track of that.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know. It's like, stop being
But
so
then
goddamn
again,
greedy.
there was the top-down shooters. They were originally only Xbox, Windows Store, whatever, and then they put them over eventually. So far I have seen at least delayed release onto Steam, but it does happen.
Yeah. But then it's like, at that point, like, what are they going to run into? Because if they start doing that, obviously, like, the Steam sales are going to be much higher than they are on the Windows Store.
Probably, but also, I mean, it's one of those things where the people who need to get it right away, that's when you have the $60 pricing. And, like, they're not going to wait, so they're just going to get it on their store. So they'll get a little bit more revenue that way, and then they'll put it out on Steam for $20 cheaper like they did. And then they'll still get sales from that, but, the little bit that goes to Valve, will be there too. So they won't have to worry about that at first.
There's some things about PlayStation that kind of annoy me. PlayStation Pro looking like a hamburger annoys me. But
it does not look good now.
Yeah, but the thing that also annoys me is, like, there's things I like about both sides. The thing I mainly like about the Xbox is, even though the Xbox One S is only a minor upgrade to the original, whatever performance game you get there, it does move over. Just like on a PC, you put a new graphics card in, you're going to get a little bit of performance, even on the same settings. That just happens. From what I understand from devs on the PS4, it is so hard coded to that hardware that if it's not coded specifically for the Pro, it will run exactly the same on the Pro, like frame dips and all.
Right.
So there's things I don't like about that. Having said that, I would rather see PlayStation come over to PC and specifically on Steam and sell their stuff on there. As sort of like, maybe like they got like a little PlayStation corner of Steam or something like that. But I'd like to see them also on PC, because that means now we have this competition on PC that pretty much ensures that if one side's fighting for like Win32 and the other side's trying to push this other thing, that they're pretty much going to balance each other out or cancel each other out.
Right. Yeah. I mean, more competition's always good. It's good for everyone.
Yeah. So, I don't know. We'll see. Also, apparently, if you get a PlayStation VR, because these came out this week, and you plug it into a PC, Xbox One, or Wii U, it automatically goes into cinema mode. Which basically means
interesting, yeah.
You just have a big, huge, like, movie theater size screen in there to play your games on. So it sounds like that's just a default thing in the hardware that just turns on when you hook it up to anything. So that's bizarre.
Yeah, so I mean, in a way, you can. It's not using anywhere near all the functionality, but in a way, you have VR on everything.
Well, it's 2D, so
yeah,
But I thought that was pretty interesting. That it's almost like the DualShock in a way. It's like you could hook it up to a PC, it turns on, like you hit buttons, it does stuff. Right. It's like that on the VR too. It's pretty weird. So it sounds like somebody could program a game and possibly just like program it to work with PSVR.
Right. I mean, yeah, if it's split between the consoles, they could just leave it in there.
Yeah, I mean that's just weird to me that they left it that open. That's pretty weird.
Well, I mean, it is weird, but it's good. Also, I mean, they need to. I think definitely the PC hookup definitely needs to happen. Because I think they'll have more people. They'll sell a lot more units if they open it up to PC because people are going to want to buy that. It's the cheapest VR headset you can get.
Mm-hmm.
If you open it up to what already is the center of VR, there's all these other, all these people with other VR headsets or want to get into it and they have the PC for it. It'll just open that up to them and boom, and they can outbid anyone basically in a way.
It's
cool.
cool.
A good starter.
For me, if I was going to get into VR, assuming that there were still games I wanted to play on it, I would still go Vive. I would spend the extra money.
Oh, I mean, Vive is definitely the best one by far. It is, but the PlayStation VR is a good starter. I actually, in a way, almost prefer it to the Oculus.
I would say yes on that. The reason I say probably the Vive, though, is... Have you played Rec Room on Vive at all?
No.
That blew my fucking mind with the Vive. And the reason being... and the PSVR can't do this either. I'm pretty sure it can't. Maybe it can. Who knows? But the Vive, with that thing on in Rec Room, it literally measures your height even. So I could see the different height of the different people in VR, including children.
Right.
It's like, this is actually how tall you are. Like, that blew my fucking mind that it could be that dead on accurate. Little things I like about it, like when you're in the Vive, you can actually see the controllers in the 3D space. You can actually bend down and get them. You can't do that with the PSVR. PSVR, You're sitting there the whole time, like going with like, where is it? Trying to look under the headset, trying to pick up the Move controller. And every single time I've seen the Move controller compared to the Vive controller, it's just like the Vive controller is like so one-to-one.
There is a reason why it is cheaper version for sure, but
so it's like it's cheaper, but if I was going to spend it that much money, I'd already just want to go ahead and spend the rest and get the experience I consider like the best VR.
Right.
So.
And I guess in a way too, look, it just depends how much VR are you wanting to play. If you don't play that much, I would say PlayStation VR. Like, if you don't have that much time, you just want to do it every once in a while, just on the weekend or something.
Yeah.
But if you are a person who, you're going to want to play it every day, or, you actually want to put considerable amount of time, definitely go Vive, for sure.
Yeah. All right. Now we're getting into, one more thing. Let me move this over. Battlefield 1 isn't out yet, already has hackers. PC Gamer, you know what this is? Somebody in PC Gamer encountered a hacker, got pissed, and claimed that it's...
There's someone who just probably kicked his ass.
Yeah. So Battlefield 1's taking a different approach on hackers. They're not trying to completely close the system off or some dumb DRM like before. They're using DRM, but the same kind they've been using forever. It sounds like they're doing a much more aggressive mod ban. So it sounds like they're adding more mods, hiring more people to actually look over the servers, and if there's complaints of this, they actually have people looking into it and they're being banned. Like, this is the way you should go for multiplayer games. Like, no matter what you do with any kind of other thing or whatnot, like Steam probably has the best right now as far as like software for anti-cheat stuff.
Oh yeah, VAC or whatever it is.
Yeah, the VAC stuff, but people have even found ways around that. The best thing to have is actually have a team of people that can look into this and look at the data recorded on the server and whatnot and say, okay, yeah, they were definitely doing something they're banned. Like, I don't know. This is just PC Gamer being like...
Yeah, I know. I feel like we rip on PC Gamer like every week because they always do stupid shit. And it's already has hackers. One, it's still early, but also, come on, man.
Yeah.
I mean, people like to throw that out there, like, people are hacking. It's like, no, they're not.
But anyways, the thing I got from this is, yes, they were actually banning people, like the way they should.
If they're on it, if you see it, say something.
Yeah.
They'll look into it.
Yeah, like, when you're playing any of these games, if it's got any kind of tools or anything like that, this is what you use it for. Because every once in a while, you'll get companies that hire people, and if they don't see it being used, those people get let go, and then there's nobody looking at anything when you flag somebody. So... yeah, But anyways, I thought it was interesting that this guy was like, I got beat and I had to. So
Right.
okay, let's have some fun.
All right. Let's do
We're
this.
We're gonna watch the Star Wars trailer.
Oh.
Jin, whatever I do,
There it is.
I do it to protect you. So you understand?
I understand.
He looks so imperial and pricky.
Yeah. Oh, I just I love the mood that this trailer is setting. It is that definitely war feel. Like we're
Yes.
actually going to get into the nitty gritty of what the Imperial Rebel War was.
It's like, good job, you understood. Now give me a Republic commando.
I think you might be able to help us.
Kind of,
Movie.
yeah.
When was the last time you were in contact with your father?
What is this?
Also, Mads Mikkelsen looks
Yeah.
He's
very.
critical to the
This looks
development
badass.
of a super weapon.
Oh, it does.
If my father built this thing, we need to
I
find
love
him.
the Fallen Jedi statue. That is probably my favorite thing. I know I'm probably a little behind.
That's probably on Jeddah.
Yeah, Jeddah. Well, Jeddah is supposed to be, if I remember correctly, it's supposed to be like this planet where they have a religion there around the Force. It's not the Jedi. It's something totally different, but they still follow the Force. And they've touched on this in like Rebels and stuff too, how there's different ways people around the galaxy look at the Force and how it's supposed to be used and whatnot. And Jedi was just a sect of like a, yeah, kind of like a sect or a different way to look at it.
I've got audio going, so I don't know if people heard you.
Whatever, that's fine. They don't have to hear me. Mom.
I thought it was funny that Donnie Yen's staff is like a bowcaster, almost kind of thing.
Yeah,
looks like-
it does. It has little flip out things. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the next.
I think so we'll talk about our theories on this in a sec.
Save the rebellion! Save the dream!
All right, so that's Rogue One trailer if you haven't seen it.
Mm-hmm.
So, one planet's obviously Jeddah. We know that because it was in Clone Wars. Jeddah. So like Joe said, it's not technically where the Jedi ever really were. I guess it did have a history there for a short
Yes,
time.
they had a history. Yeah.
I don't know if a temple was there or not. I can't remember.
I'm not 100% sure, but basically, yeah, I was saying like there's a different kind of offshoot of Jedi. There's another like religion in a way that follows the Force, and they look at it a different way. But the Jedi were partially part of that, and I think it was supposed to be a place where the Jedi could reunite in a way. Now that's just what I know, what I've heard or whatever. So I'm not 100% sure on that, but.
So what I've heard of Jeddah is it's basically, for anybody that believes in the Force, it's kind of like their
It's like a
version
hub.
of, it's kind of like their version of Mecca.
Yeah, Mecca. Yeah.
that they do pilgrimages to. It's also the place where a lot of kyber crystals are.
Yes, that. Yeah, I was trying to remember.
Yeah, so it looks like in this, from what I've seen so far. So I know from past stuff, the Death Star uses a shit ton of kyber crystals to power
Yes.
its laser. So I think probably in the construction of this, they're mining the shit out of Jeddah, and it's pissing off the locals.
Mm-hmm.
And the test that we hear about is probably the Death Star blowing up the actual city in that one scene.
Yeah, maybe.
That's
yeah.
my theory, anyways.
That would be an interesting test, kind of
Like-
a minor one, yeah.
Yeah, like not destroying the entire planet.
Our
but,
planet, because I mean, yeah, Alderaan's supposed to be the first one.
yeah.
but-
So I don't know. That's possible. I think that's what part of it is. So I like what we see of the story so far. The fact that her father is like the chief designer. It would also explain why the Death Star possibly, I was thinking about this, took like 20 years to complete compared to the second one.
Yeah.
if you
Well,
st-
I mean, they probably started on the second one, a good ways into making the first one. I mean, I'm sure like they weren't planning on just building one Death Star and they're like, oh crap, well let's build a second one. I'm sure they had plans to build multiple Death Stars.
I always kind of thought of it as like seeing this, that maybe like he was the chief designer and he knew everything they needed to know to finish it, and he had second thoughts and left and had a family.
Right.
And then at times she grew up, and maybe they obviously didn't know about her when they came to pick him up.
Right. Yeah, they had
know?
no idea.
Yeah, so
Also, Crafty Hack, no, not everyone believes in the Force. That is, like, Han Solo definitely doesn't believe in the Force in Episode 4. It's not a super common thing that everyone believes in it.
no. Han Solo didn't believe in it for like the longest ass time.
I mean, even during the prequel era, like, Jedi, they heard of these people, but they didn't necessarily always see them. I mean, there's only there was like 14,000, 20,000 Jedi. Spread that across, thousands of
the
planets.
entire galaxy, yeah.
Right. You're not going to see them. I mean, that's like the only proof that you can see. So
Yeah. It's like they weren't they were well known, but they weren't ever seen.
Yeah.
So like even like planets in the Outer Rim, like when you see Anakin in Episode 1, at that point in Anakin, like that was his first experience actually seeing one.
yeah, that's why he calls it laser sword, and like they're almost like myth still, even though they actually exist.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird how they do that in Star Wars, but I'm looking forward to this. This is what I wanted out of Star Wars, is these offshoots, these expansions to the original trilogy or that time frame. I like to see Knights of the Old Republic kind of stuff
I would
done.
love to see that. I mean, it's definitely a possibility. We're still so early in this whole Star Wars expanded cinematic universe that they're doing, and they kind of want to focus on what we know. But if they really do want to put out a new movie every single year, we're definitely going to get into those huge expanses of the old republics, and like way off. We could have ones way off in the future, or these really random characters that just happens to take place in the Star Wars universe. There's so much we could do, but I think this is what we got to focus on right now.
Yeah, Crafty Hack. Most people didn't believe in the Force, though.
Yeah,
Like-
no, because it's something that now. I listen to a lot of Star Wars stuff, so like Dave Filoni, who is the head of Rebels, and he's also the head of Lucasfilm Animation. He was like second hand to George Lucas or whatever. The way he explains it was the Force isn't necessarily 100% biological. Like, you have midichlorians or whatever, he's not afraid to talk about it, but basically it's to help you. They help you be better at it, and it makes things come more natural to you. So you have a Anakin or Yoda where it comes more natural to them, and they can study and become these huge, powerful things. But it's not necessarily means that no one can use it. It becomes harder.
Yeah.
It's harder for them, but they can learn it. The Force exists, but the thing is, it's still hard for it's still a rarity for people to be Force sensitive in any way.
Yeah. Which I kind of, in my mind, I know it's canon. I just kind of take the midichlorian thing and just go,
Right.
It's like, I think that, to me, that was like a dumb
I know you hate it, but
yeah.
I actually like it. It gives a little bit more realistic feel to it to me. Like, it helps explain why not everybody can use the Force.
It does, but at the same time, I kind of like the Force just being a mysticism thing.
Oh.
Because to me, it was Star Wars was cool because it was like, it's like,
you still have to learn it though. Like,
I understand that, but before that, to me, in my mind, Star Wars is like kind of like Wizards and like the old, like the Knights of the Round Table kind of thing, where it was like you had magic and it couldn't be explained in this, but then they just took that into the future and made it this like kind of like futuristic thing with magic, and I thought that was kind of cool, and I thought it was even cooler to the fact that the whole galaxy, for the most part, never experienced it, never saw it until you saw some weird guy in a robe start wielding shit around through the air.
To me, it's one of those things where it's so far in the future, and that's just how I look at it. It's the one of the few links they found between people and the Force. It's to help them find those people, but that's about it. And there's still a lot of science in Star Wars, quote unquote. There's still magic to it. But it's one of the few things that is solidified in science that they can help explain them. But it still doesn't explain the Force and how you use it. It's just, hey, this is this thing that we found that is very common within those Force users.
No, I don't necessarily agree. Magic doesn't belong in sci-fi. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't necessarily. It can be really cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, this looks cool. Now the thing I'm worried about, it seems like we have to have something grounding it into the old stuff. That's cool. I like that Vader's in this. That's a very
Yes.
easy thing to integrate. James Earl Jones is still around, still
Yep,
kicking,
he's-
still doing the
Yeah, he'd
voice.
gladly do it. Yeah, he's awesome in Rebels when he does it.
I'm actually, like I said, this is more of what I wanted instead of the new episodes. However, I'm not excited for the other anthology movies planned, like whatsoever.
Well, yeah. So far, I mean, then again, there's only Han Solo that has been confirmed officially.
Well,
I think Boba Fett is kind of still yes and no.
they said Boba Fett's probably a go, from what I last heard. Which, that's fine, I guess. It's not a character I necessarily cared about. And don't get me wrong, I'm just as bad. If they did an Obi-Wan movie between 3 and 4, I'd be stupid fucking excited.
Oh, I would be all over that.
Because Ewan McGregor did such a better job of Obi-Wan.
He might, yeah, I know. We're gonna get crucified for this, but I think he is a better Obi-Wan than Alec Guinness was.
Yeah, so I'd be excited to see that. There had to be something that happened in that 20 years. He wasn't just sitting in the
definitely.
desert picking his nose.
And the thing is, I want something to explain how Luke knows who he is and why Uncle Owen doesn't want Obi-Wan around.
Yeah.
And there has to be something. Now, I feel like they almost kind of set this up in a recent thing of Rebels, spoiler alert, but it seems like Darth Maul has figured out that Obi-Wan is still alive. Like, I want that as a movie. I want Darth Maul to go to Tatooine and have this confrontation, and maybe he finds Luke, and and that's kind of part of the thing. But Uncle Owen is all like, hey, you can't be coming around here anymore because you just bring trouble. And that's where, like, the thing maybe starts, how they don't get along, and that's why he's just a crazy old wizard.
I would even be down for, like, say, the Sith Inquisitors or something like that. And
Yeah,
Luke.
yeah, I would be okay with that, too. It would have to take place a little bit before where we're at in Rebels now, but yeah.
Yeah, but that would make sense too. Like maybe there's some kind of weird
Conversation?
No, confrontation.
Confrontation.
There we go.
There you go.
God, I hate when you got words stuck in your head and you can't get it out. But anyways, maybe there's some kind of brawl or something that happened outside of like Owen's place where they were trying to get a hold of Luke, trying to kill him because he's force sensitive or something, and that gave him a bad opinion. Maybe Owen and Ben were friends for a while,
Right.
And maybe something happened where Owen and Obi-Wan became friends. Kind of like, he kind of like said, well, he did give him the child in the movie, and we do know he knows who he is.
Right. They
And
know each other. Yeah.
So maybe they were actually good friends, and after that they had a falling out or something like that. That would explain a lot of things, because it kind of felt that way in episode 4, like there was a huge falling out.
Yeah, like there was a falling out. Luke's like, old Ben. Maybe, Obi-Wan. Maybe it means, old Ben.
Yeah.
Because
So
he knows him.
yeah. So I don't know. That's the one I would be kind of forgiving with, but I really wanted to see an expanded universe, new characters, new situations, maybe pepper in some appearances here and there, but for the most part, I wanted because Luke and Leia and Han couldn't have been everywhere for everything that happened during that Civil War.
Right.
So it would be just cool.
Oh
to
yeah,
go
I mean,
back to that.
there's a lot of stuff. Yeah, that could have happened between 6 and 7.
It's like
that
I
we could get to,
understand. I understand he's too old. You'd have to cast somebody new as Wedge, but what about a Rogue Squadron movie?
Right.
Would be fucking badass.
I mean, because this is my theory now. I know we're going way off of what we normally talk about, but something that I would like to see is, since Dave Filoni got promoted to head of Lucasfilm Animation, my theory is the reason why they did that is because one of their side movies they're going to do is an animated feature. And it could be something like a Rogue Squadron or something. They could do something like that takes place in between 6 and 7 and bring the old cast and have them do the voices for them into their younger forms.
Yeah. That'd be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'd watch that. May the shorts be with you.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Because they needed manual labor. The farm.
Yeah. Hey, you're not taking away my free labor. Get out of here, you crazy.
He likes it here. He gets lots of blue milk. Leave him alone. It's like we let him go down to we let him go down to Tashi Station for power converters.
Yeah,
It's
you know what
fine.
that means. Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah. Luke had happy endings. That's what that means. You know,
Power converting.
it was like I saw the lady that was hanging out there. She was, she was cute. Just saying. Seemed to be only wearing a robe.
Yeah, get some Twi'leks up in there.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. As far as like this being a little bit off topic, I don't care. This is what I ended up
it's
doing
fun.
this for.
I mean, we are. We're nerdy. We love all kinds of different things. So Star Trek and Star Wars, love them both.
Yeah.
Video games, everything.
It was kind of a light news week, so I was just like, fuck it.
Yeah, we'll throw it in there. What the hell?
Yeah. So, anyways, what are they saying?
Be power of nature. Like, I understand your idea of Viridian, and in a way, yes, magic is just unexplained science, and at least that's how it works in the real world. But
Yeah.
in Star Wars, in a way, it's still the same. It's just they still haven't been able to figure it out, basically, and that's how I look at midichlorians. It's one of the few things they have figured out about the Force. That's
kinda
the
like-
one connection.
To me, it's kind of like our science. We know dark matter's probably there. We can't see it. We know dark matter probably connects everything
Right.
in some way.
Like, we have not found any concrete evidence, but we have found so much stuff that says it has to exist.
Yeah, so it's one of those things. Like the Force in Star Wars is supposed to be like, they say it called it an energy field that surrounds and binds everything.
Yeah.
And to us, we kind of, huh?
Well, I was going to say, and, there are the people who have learned and are able to help, tap into that.
Yeah, and at the time Star Wars takes place, it's supposed to be like they are literally able to go everywhere in the galaxy. Like,
Yeah, from
it is
far, right.
such an advanced civilization, culture, and everything that they built there, and they're all interconnected. So they've probably learned a lot more things about life in general than we have in our little rock. But and thanks, Steve, for the host, man. Appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So on that note.
I know we're finishing up.
Man, we got a like real conversation going on now.
Uh-huh. But,
Well, in Star Wars, they're going through a wormhole.
also, yeah, and technically faster than light travel is possible through a wormhole or a loophole, as I like to say.
We've actually done FTL with light so far. Basically laser beams. As far as I know. Yeah, so apparently there's an experiment where we used some kind of particles or something about 10 years ago at Ohio State where they had a high-speed camera and they shot a laser into this box of particles or whatever. It was supposed to bounce off a mirror and hit like a sensor. And it actually came out of the box and hit the sensor before the beam actually went in.
Interesting.
So, it's like, try to wrap your mind around that, but somehow, apparently, that means we broke the light barrier or something like that.
Like there's, I've not heard of that. I know there was a thing a couple years ago, but they found out that their clocks were just slightly off, and that's why it looked like they went faster than the speed of light.
Yeah, so I don't know, but we'll see. I'm sure we'll figure it out sooner or later.
Well, as long as we don't kill ourselves first, yes, we'll figure it out. There's a lot of stuff that happens. Like, we didn't think we'd be able to go past the sound barrier at one point, but eventually we figured it out.
Well, Musk will save us. He'll put a little deposit on Mars for us.
He is the type of insanity that I love.
Yeah. Yeah, he's an insane person. We have these cars that could literally like blow up and kill people, but it's cool.
I love how he's like, yeah, we're gonna be at Mars in like 10 years, even though we have like nothing yet set up.
Yeah, we can't land a rocket yet, but it's cool.
Yeah. Hey, they pulled it off finally, but it's like once they have one successful rocket land, they're like, we're going. We blow up 15 of these, but damn it.
All right, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Thanks for joining us. This was a kind of a weird one this week, but
it was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. So, and thanks guys for participating in the chat. You guys actually had a lot to say this week.
You did. Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah. So, by the way, Master of Minutes tonight, 6 p.m. over on Steve's channel, Burial Grounds on Twitch. Let's see. I'll just do this.
Type in.
Yeah.
Clicky, clicky,
I
click.
think that still works. Let me check.
Maybe, I don't know.
Nope.
Ask Steve.
It doesn't. Anyways. Or was it Master and Men's? Yeah, it was Master and Men's. Hold on.
Okay. But yeah, watch his show. It's always fun. Of course, him and his friend, they just take, I think it's 2 games, and they play each other's game for 15 minutes and see if they can basically, play it and get used to it. So
Yeah, well,
and master it in 15 minutes.
they both try to play their own game, and then the other one
Right.
tries to teach the other one how to play it.
How
in
to play
15
it,
minutes.
right.
So that's basically how the show works. So, anyways, as far as streaming, I'm going to be streaming tomorrow. I know Monday's not usually a day I stream, but since I missed Saturday, I'm going to stream tomorrow. I'll just tweet what time I go live, and we'll just play some games and stuff.
Yeah.
And probably be playing some Alien Isolation for Halloween.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, so...
Oh, great game.
Yeah. Might do some Dead Space if I get through that quick enough.
Mhm.
But
Yeah. As for me, probably throughout the week, maybe pop onto either Ace Combat or Evo Land. But for sure, next weekend, going to be doing more Civilization 5 before Civ 6 comes out. So, even though I think it comes out like this week, doesn't it?
I don't remember. I don't know.
It's really soon, but we're trying to finish up our game.
I just stopped playing it because I was getting sick and tired of Gandhi fucking nuking me my ass.
He's an asshole.
Yeah,
It happens.
Yeah. So, yeah, guys. I'll catch you later. Thanks for hanging out. Yada yada. Let me see if I get the right one. Yes, it worked. Okay. Later.
Later, folks.